Welcome back, channel viewer, to Let's Redub a Let's Play video because the sound was messed up again. This was, as it happens, the last video I recorded overseas on vacation. So for some bizarre reason, I recorded, 3 or 4 videos in a row, and only the last one had any audio issues. But, what you gonna do? When last you joined me, well, I was overseas, I'm not now. And we were finishing off the treasure cave. The treasure cave in this game is very different from the one in Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals. The treasure cave in Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals is 100 levels deep, or maybe it's 99, I don't really remember. The levels are they randomly generate, so it's a different map every time you go through. Basically, it's a really neat idea that a game later called Azure Dreams basically just was the treasure cave from Lufia 2, and that was the entire game, really. Because you also start at level 1. All of your characters start at level 1 every time you go into the treasure cave in Lufia 2. So it was really kind of like a sub-game that was a game within itself, and in fact, if you use New Game Plus on Lufia, you go through the entire game again and you defeat it. If you beat the game twice and use New Game Plus, then you are trapped on the island with the treasure cave, so you can't go anywhere or do anything other than the treasure cave. But it's kind of, you have your choice of all the available party members in that game, because in that game you have more than just the 4 people. In this game you get 4 characters, and they are your 4 characters, and when you're facing the final boss, it's with these 4 characters. In that game, characters come and go, kind of like in Final Fantasy II, where you've got people like, Fuso Ya, who hangs around and is part of your party for a while, but you don't get to keep them. And like in that game, you don't get to choose which party members you want to have for the end game. You just have different party members you have to work with for different stretches of the game. And that's how Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals works. No matter how desperately you want Tia to be in your party because you're into dominatrixes and she has a whip, you don't get to have her at the end of the game. She's gone. She's not coming back. You are stuck with Maxim, Guy, Salon, and Artia, even if you really desperately wanted the scientist dude who fights with a monkey wrench to be part of your party. Anyway, I'm pretty much ignoring my own video here. Yeah, so around this point I discovered that, probably because she has a phenomenally high intelligence stat, Lufia's absorb spell is, really good, and, she can pretty much just suck the magic out of anything and use it to heal on the next turn, and although if you suck magic out of the same enemy 2 times in a row, it doesn't work out that good. But, yeah, boy howdy. Anyway, she sure does suck magic, huh? Lufia, you really suck. Why, that's really kind of you to say. Hey! See, she was, shocked and amazed that I would make that kind of a pun. Anyway, yeah, I kind of lost track of what I was talking about there. I was saying that the treasure cave in Lufia 2 is really unique and interesting, and by the time you get to the bottom levels of the treasure cave, you're fighting monsters who never show up. They're tougher than the monsters of the final dungeon of the story proper. You're fighting enemies that will never show up in the real game. And the final boss of the treasure cave, well, I don't want to spoil it or anything, but it's basically it's a race against the clock kind of fight. It runs away after a certain number of turns, and you have to finish it off quickly. Whereas the first time I got to the bottom of the treasure cave, I wasted a bunch of turns casting defensive spells, thinking it was going to fight back, and I was really pissed off when it escaped, and I didn't win. But anyway, it just goes around checking situation for a couple turns, and then runs away. But that's not where we are. We are in the Lufia 1 treasure cave, which is basically just a dungeon where they don't bother to make any kind of plot. It's a dungeon. There's stuff in it. You have to be at a certain level before you're allowed to enter. This is the final portion of the Lufia 1 treasure cave, which is so much less impressive than the Lufia 2 treasure cave. But it still feels good to have this thing beaten, which by the end of this video, we will have conquered this treasure cave. And generally speaking, if you are, as I've been for much of this game, slightly over-leveled, which means you can get deeper into the treasure cave and fight harder enemies than the ones that you can fight just in regular plot dungeons. The treasure cave tends to be the source of some of the best equipment that you're going to have. Also the worst. Like, it seems like every level of the treasure cave has one cursed item, be it the luck sword, gloom pick, etc. Monsters stay away. Boba the Vulture revealed during the past week that he has a special fondness for the idea that a Guro, who is, as we know, fundamentally retarded. I mean, I liked the character of a Guro because he doesn't have a huge amount of personality, but when he does get a line, it's usually mocking the other characters in some way. But, no, since his intelligence score is like 4, we've basically decided that he is retarded. And that it's a special task to make him feel important to the party. Avatar allows him to be the one who carries the sweet water around. And when it's time to actually use sweet water, it is in fact a Guro who says, "Monsters stay away," as he liberally sprinkles sweet water on his party members, because I'm assuming that the only way to get this stuff to work is to sprinkle it on people, and that monsters stay away because they don't like people who are like dripping wet with sweet water. Anyway, so yeah, we're just continuing to fight monsters in the treasure cave, and if I had cause to worry about the fact that it took a minute to get this thing rolling, there's been big changes in the YouTube world. Ooh, Lufia's gonna die unless she hurries up and absorbs magic. I happen to know she doesn't die. They kill the golem before that can happen, and she just cures everybody, and it's fine. Everything's wonderful. Don't panic. But yeah, big changes in the YouTube world. And YouTube videos can now be up to 15 minutes long. No longer have this sort of ill-defined, you can go 10 minutes, but if you go over 10 minutes, it'll usually be okay, and we don't... I've never known precisely what the cutoff was, but now apparently it is 15 minutes exactly. 15 minutes and 1 second, and your video is not going to get posted. I have too many things. It's kind of like revisiting Paladin's Quest and the Throne of Immortals. What do? I think I threw away a bunch of antidotes. Yeah, because I really just need to start selling a bunch of this crap. I don't need the money, but I've only got so much inventory space. I mean, there's items like high potions that I've never used. Mind gourds, I mean, I've been collecting this stuff for the whole game and never using any of it. Anyway, Mega Frogs. There's a lot of mega enemies in this mega cave. Anybody remember Captain N, the Game Master? Mega Man used to say mega in every sentence, and it was incredibly irritating. Mega Man was like... There have been various craptastic, low-budget animes made about Mega Man in the meantime. And, but for some reason, at that point, he was like... The Captain N folks were able to get a hold of the copyright for Mega Man. They, for whatever reason, that game featured Mother Brain as a villain, but did not have Samus in it. Possibly because they didn't want to spoil the incredible secret ending of Metroid, where Samus was a woman. Which was a pretty big shocker at the time. It was like, holy crap, I've been playing as a chick? Okay, so... I've finished the treasure cave. I believe I went in off... You know, write and tell me if I'm wrong, and you spotted some section of the treasure cave I didn't succeed in finishing, but I pretty much checked off camera, made sure I finished it. Now, I'm the best treasure hunter this guy's ever met. He's changed his pants now. He's so excited about me. He's gonna go buy a cushion so that his knees don't get sore when he nails down in front of me. And anyway, okay, so this video is pretty much over. I guess I can start recording new videos now, and hopefully have the sound work. So that'll be fun. I'll see you then.